thank you for the time that we're spending together, Jen. Tell us, how did you decide on LSCI? Where did you hear about it? How did you decide to bring it to your building?
Yeah. Previous knowledge, I worked at a school before that was Circle of Courage School, and we went to Black Hills Seminar quite a few times, did training through Reclaiming Youth, and LSCI is something that came out through those trainings and discussion. When I took the job here 2 years ago and stepped in, I felt like it was really missing a therapeutic rapport, and that was something that was top on my list to work on. It was a bit of a struggle last year, and
You say that with a smile.
I do, because it's not so much a struggle right now, and I'm really excited that that's kind of behind us at this point. But part of that struggle was really just trying to get all the staff on the same page and trying to get people who didn't have the past experience or the education or the training about working with this population to understand that there is a difference between punitive and consequences, and just because you're not in someone's face or being counter-aggressive doesn't mean that you're coddling them. And it was just really about how's the best way to us go about shifting our program and our culture in the building, and LSCI was one of the tools I thought would be essential for us.
Good. Now, I spent 3 days with you and your staff. Wonderful experience, by the way. And what have you noticed about the culture of your building? Because your staff, all your staff, and I should say your building would be considered an LSCI building.
Yeah.
What have you noticed?
I have noticed, first off, that the team is on the same page. Everyone is speaking the same language when we're working together and when we're doing treatment plans, and that alone is a great start. So you can get straight to the meat and potatoes of something, because we won't have to spend a lot of time trying to get everyone to buy in where we're coming from. Students are making comments like, people are listening to me, they're getting my point. We had some struggle with some staff last year that had very counter-aggressive measures for the right reason. They cared about students and they wanted to see positive change. It was just about educating them and possibly the best delivery of that. Saying things such as, oh wow, I can see he cares now. And that's just been huge. There's some staff that's really made a big difference for, and because we're not fighting about the philosophy of what the program should be looking like, and since we're all on the same page of that, I feel like the students have really been able to just have like a sigh of relief, like they come in and it's not as tense in the building between our own staff, and that alone allows us to be able to give them something that they weren't able to get last year. It's calmer. I mean, by no means are we perfect, but what we're seeing is different. Yeah. And what we're seeing is when they have crisis and when there's stuff going on in the classroom, that it is an opportunity for them to learn how to change it in the future. And the simple fact that they're willing to look at changing it in the future is, it's the spark that keeps us going. That's what we want,
Thank you. Imagine a meeting with a colleague like you that is running, managing a program like yours, and you begin to talk about the kind of programming you have. What would you say to this colleague of yours that is not aware of or familiar with LSCI, and you're exchanging notes about your programs? What would you say to this colleague about LSCI?
I would say that first off, I really feel like people that have the LSCI training, it changes their whole idea of how they're working with a student. It takes something that I think was a struggle for a lot of people in the past, in taking moments of crisis that can be traumatic and that can be rough on everyone involved, students and staff, and giving it a forum where everyone can work together to change what it might look like next time it happens. But instead of just making it up as you go along and trying to pick at things, it gives you a very structured way to go about it. And just like our students, when we're in crisis, we need structure to fall back on. We need something that we can look at to sort of take us through those steps and take the emotion out of the situation. And I feel that LSCI really provides that.
Wow, I love that answer.
Thanks.
Is there anything else you would like to say about LSCI, about your building, about your staff, about the kids, anything in general?
All of it is amazing. I have some incredible staff this year. Everyone is trying really hard. everyone's on the same page. There's so much communication going on. It's just it's so different than last year. Like last year, at the end of the day, after the students would leave, staff would go into their rooms, close their door, and it would be done. Now you have staff hanging in the hallway for 15 minutes after kids processing about something that happened or discussing, saying, hey, I saw you do that. It's really given a forum for our staff to be able to professionally call each other out in a manner and saying, hey, I saw you do that. And why did you approach it that way? Where before that would have come across as very challenging and people would have taken it very emotionally instead of professionally. So that's been a big shift for us. Again, I think our students are just in an amazing spot right now. Like I said, it's silly things that are getting in the way, not big issues. We've had 2 fights. But that's kind of the population we work with. And what I look at is in both of those situations, did none of our students engage, gang up and try to get mob action in that fight, which would have been something in the past. None of them got involved in it. The only way students were involved, and this happened in both fights we had, was to break it up. And that's huge. That to me is where growth is happening.
That's awesome.
I was so impressed by that.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
good. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And meeting with your staff was wonderful, too. So congratulations. We'll be in touch.
Good.